Lokma Turkish, lokma Arabic, lakuped plural elkimat, lukimat, lukumades Greek, lukumades singular lukumas, lukumas, or bamia Persian, bamai are pastries made of leavened and deep-fried dough, soaked in syrup or honey, sometimes coated with cinnamon or other ingredients. The dish was described as early as the 13th century by al-Baghdadi as lukmat al-Qadi, judges' morsels. Etymology. Lokma means mouthful or morsel, from Arabic lakuped lukma, plural lukmat. Regional varieties. Arab countries. The recipe for lukmat al-Qadi, yeast-leavened dough boiled in oil and doused in honey or sugar syrup with rosewater, dates back to at least the early medieval period and the 13th century Abbasid Caliphate, where it is mentioned in several of the existent cookery books of the time. It is also mentioned in the 1001 Nights, in the story The Porter and the Three Ladies of Baghdad. Today in the Gulf countries, lukemat, sometimes spiced with cardamom or saffron, are little changed. In the Levant, they are called awame wamt or zalabia. India and Pakistan. The explorer and scholar Ibn Battuta in the 14th century encountered the dish he knew as lukemat al-Qadi at a dinner in Multan, then part of India, where his hosts called it al-Hashimi. Turkey. Bortsog, called pisi or tuzlu lokma, sour lokma in Turkish, which is lokma without any sweet syrup or honey, is a staple food for Turkic and Mongolian cuisines. Lokma in the form of a dessert is made with flour, sugar, yeast and salt, fried in oil and later bathed in syrup or honey. Lokma is first described as part of Turkish cuisine in the 9th century Kara Khanid Khanate. It was cooked by palace cooks in the Ottoman Empire for centuries and spread to the cuisines of the former countries of the Ottoman Empire in the Balkans, Middle East and the Caucasus. While in the former Ottoman countries such as Iraq and Greece it is an ordinary dessert, it has a ceremonial meaning in Turkey and is generally not consumed as an everyday dessert. Traditionally 40 days after someone passes away, close relatives and or friends of the deceased cook lokma in large quantities and serve to neighbors and passers-by. People form queues to get a plate and recite a prayer for the soul of the deceased in return after eating the lokma. Greece and Cyprus. Lokma in Greece and Cyprus, called lukumades, are commonly spiced with cinnamon in a honey syrup and can be sprinkled lightly with powdered sugar. The exact recipe for lokma has evolved over many centuries, however, it is a traditional Greek dessert with roots in deep antiquity. A number of ancient honey cakes are described above, which most likely constitute the origin of lokma, whose present name is borrowed from Turkish. The ancient recipes were inherited via the Byzantine Empire and passed on to the occupied countries of the Ottoman Empire, corresponding to where lokma are found today. The candidate most frequently mentioned as being prepared with hot oil is enkrides, which is described above along with other postulated ancestral honey cakes. Lokum is called sphingoi by the Greek Jews, who make them as Hanukkah treats. The tradition is claimed to have been originated by the Romaniotes. Similar dishes. Various other kinds of fried dough with syrup are found in the Mediterranean, the Middle East, and South Asia, from the Italian strufoli, the most similar in preparation to lokma, and zeppoli to the Indian jalebi and gulab jamun. Perhaps the oldest documentation of a related but not identical dish is in the tomb of Ramses IV, where something more like jalebi is shown being prepared. Later, the ancient Greek inchatoi consisted of a cheese and flour dough squeezed into hot fat, then covered with honey. Enkrides. A dish very similar to lokma is described by Archestratus, a Greek poet from Sicily, was enkris Greek, enkris plural enkrides, a dough ball fried in olive oil, which he details in his Gastronomy, a work now lost, but partially preserved in the Dipnosophists of Athenaeus, which mentions enkris 13 times, in various inflected forms. The most complete description of it in the Dipnosophists is a passage that reads, Pemation hepsamenon analioi kai meta tuto melitamenon namanue aten stesichoros dia tauten chondrante kai enkritas alate pemeta kai maligloran. There are cakes, also, called enkrides. These are cakes boiled in oil, and after that seasoned with honey, and they are mentioned by Stesichorus in the following lines: groats and enkrides, and other cakes, and fresh sweet honey. It is also mentioned in preserved fragments of Aristophanes's Danaids and Pherecrates' Krapitaloi, Stesichorus, and Antiphon. This word is also used in the Greek Septuagint to describe the manna eaten by the Israelites in the Book of Exodus. Kai epinomason hoi hioioi Israel to enoma auto man en de hos sperma coriu lucan to de geuma auto hos enkris en militi. And the house of Israel called the name thereof manna, and it was like coriander seed, white, and the taste of it was like wafers made with honey. And also in the Book of Numbers, Kai deporueto holaus kai sinelagon kai elathin auto en toi miloi kai atriban en te thai kai hepsun auto en te chitri kai epoun auto enkrifius kai en he hadon auto hose geuma enkris exali. And the people went about, and gathered it, and ground it in mills, or beat it in a mortar, and baked it in pans, and made cakes of it, and the taste of it was as the taste of fresh oil. Also, there may be a connection to the ritual feeding of the victors at ancient Olympia. Aristotle and other ancient writers refer to charizioi plakoi or plakanta, charisioi plakoi plakunta, translated as Thanksgiving cakes or gift cakes. These were offered to the victorious athletes in a highly ritualized ceremony along with the kotinos wreath. No recipe survives. A fragment from Callimachus has been used to argue the supposed antiquity of lokum and a connection to the ancient Olympics by, among others, The Washington Post. Various assertions have also been made regarding ompne, ancient Greek. Ompni in the text means, in the plural form, sacrificial cakes made of grain and honey. Other sacrificial cakes, often called popanon, ancient Greek, popanon being ancestral to lukumades. However, the only thing that is clear about them is that they were made from grain and honey. See also: Bortsog, tuzlu lokma in Turkish, churro, donut, funnel cake, gulab jamun, jalebi, puff puff, tulumba.